Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and I have with me a stud offensive lineman that I'd like you guys to meet. This here is DeVonte Gordon. He's an offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. Nice to meet you today, sir.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Sure thing. Obviously, always thankful to talk to some guys who are from the DMV area, like myself. So I do want to get a chance to meet you and know your story just a little bit more. Uh, Again, like I said, stud offensive lineman. I really feel like he got snubbed with an invite to the combine. But buddy, you're gonna, have your opportunity here in about a month at your pro day. So, Devontae,
Sure.
go ahead, introduce yourself, and let's get going.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm DeVonte Gordon. I grew up in Washington, D.C., my favorite city in the world. Love it there. And I spent the past 6 years at Wake Forest. So, that treated me really well. I loved it down in Winston-Salem. That was a great time. And now I'm, like you said, getting ready for pro day. I'm down in Atlanta, right outside of Atlanta in Kennesaw at a place named Velocity Training. Everything I need to showcase at pro day. So, really excited about what I have going on now. And I can't wait till March 26th.
Cool. Devontae, I do feel like you have a ton of traits that scouts love. Obviously, good quality size, great experience. Again, being a part of Wake Forest, seeing some of the top edge rushers, day in and day out. So again, just a ton of things to bring to the table. But before we get talking about some of your time there at Wake Forest, let's go back a little bit and talk about you early on as a football player. How
Yeah.
long have you played this game?
I started playing football my freshman year of high school. Um, I
So
uh, I went to my high school to play basketball originally, and that was my first love. And I just happened to play football. And 4 years later, I was, found myself falling in love with it more and more every day. And I kind of just took it around with it.
gotcha. Probably a big guy there in high school, of course.
Yeah,
Um, uh, but certainly didn't really grow too tall for basketball. But
right.
for a guy who is a football player, bro, you got some great size to you. Excellent length. As you had mentioned, basketball guy there in high school. There at the Murray School in Washington D.C. How much of your basketball experience do you feel has translated to you, on the football field?
Yeah, I think that's a big attribute to have, the way that I feel I can move my feet and stay in front of people. That's what basketball is all about, on defense. So I think I can attribute a lot of what I do on the field to, what I learned in basketball. There were some things that I had to, take out of my game as well, because basketball, you're not allowed to be as aggressive, things like that. So that was a transition for me. And I think if you see my film now, it's like you might not never guess that I played basketball, but yeah, so I think that basketball definitely helped me with, in terms of keeping my feet in front of people and being able to lock people down.
Nice. And so, of course, ended up attending Wake Forest these past 6 years. When you were being recruited out of high school, was it always going to be Wake Forest? What was the recruiting like for you?
Yeah, I so recruiting for me, as I said, basketball was my main sport, so it all kind of happened really fast. Around my junior year, I got one offer, and then from UVA, and then 10 more rolled in. It seemed like overnight almost. And I liked a lot of the schools they offered me, honestly, but I think Wake Forest, I really fell in love with the coaching staff who was there, and one of my best friends was there. He played DB and he loved it there, and so I came down and took a visit and came to camp and all that stuff, and I just loved what they were building. Um, I could see that the coaching staff was really committed, and the school was really committed into doing big things. And so when I told people that when I did commit, that I had plans of competing for ACC championships and competing to be, a nationally ranked team and things like that, people were like, you're going to the wrong place, man. But we did all those things while I was there, so it was a real exciting experience, and I'm glad I made that choice.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Wake Forest has gotten guys into the league, on the offensive line. I mean, when we look at maybe these past few drafts, there have been some guys that have been drafted out of Wake Forest. Mike Jurgens, Zach Tom, also drafted
Mhm.
out of Wake Forest.
Yeah.
A lot of great players coming out of there. And then of course we're looking at maybe perhaps the next guy out of Wake Forest to hopefully hear his name called on draft day. Uh, Talk about yourself as a player. Obviously, I had introduced you as an offensive tackle. I believe that's all you've done during your time there. Can you talk about your overall experience on that offensive line?
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I have played a lot of offensive tackle. I've had a lot of starts there. I've started for 4 years straight. I missed one game. But it was an honor that I've been instilled with. Playing tackle at such a big level and playing against so many big players and things like that. Um, and I love that the coaches and my teammates and things like that trusted me from such a young age back in 2021 all the way to now to, man that position. Whether I played right for 2 years and then I played right and left for a year and then I played all left this past year. So wherever that was, they trusted me to get the job done and view me as a leader and the captain this past year. So that was really an honor to earn the respect of everybody. And I think as a captain, one of the big differences is, you are the guy that's looked at to motivate everybody to be ready to play, to be ready to practice and things like that. You have to be the one that's ready to go every day. So for them to view me in that way, I think that's a testament to what I put on film and how hard I work and things like that over all those years. So yeah, that was really good. I think that was a good experience for me to play tackle. I think that over my whole career, the thing that I've shown the greatest is that I can keep my feet in front of people. I think a lot of people knew me as a pass blocker, and so this past year, though, one of the things I really wanted to, focus on was showing that I can be a dominant run blocker too. And I think if you look at my film from this year, if you look at all the, scouting and the grading reports that are out there, you'll see that, I feel like I'm just as good a run blocker as I am a pass blocker. So yeah, I think that's been big for me. While I'm down here at Velocity, I've been working on playing tackle, center, guard. I got one call. Somebody said they might want to see me snap at pro day, and so I've been getting my snaps together and filling out the center position and all that stuff. So I love playing tackle, but whatever gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, bro, been a relentless player these past several seasons there for Wake Forest. You talked about that experience, whether it be on the right side or left side. I mean, you've done both. You've done both successfully there in the ACC. According to my notes, bro, you got 50 starts on the offensive line
Yeah.
there for Wake Forest. So, kudos for you doing that again, like you had mentioned. Really only missed one game, man. Again, 50 starts is something truly to be thankful for. Being healthy enough, during your career,
Yeah. Right.
and as you'd mentioned this past season, also being a team leader. And so a lot of people are looking at you, man, as again the next great lineman to come out of Wake Forest. Um, I try to highlight some of what I felt really helps you as a prospect. A lot of people
Yeah.
may not necessarily see the height, but bro, you got some amazing length. We're looking at a guy with almost 35-inch arms, um, and what is it, 83 and an eighth inch wing for you. So, I
Yep.
mean, we're looking at a guy with obviously the length to play tackle, but as you mentioned, you're still trying to train in the event that some professional team wants to move you on somewhere on the interior. So,
Right.
what about your game you feel separates you from others who also play your position?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I do a really good job of, staying in front of people. I think that, like what we were just talking about, you were talking about my length. I feel like a lot of people at the tackle position, especially playing in high level games against high level competition, you'll see a lot of people who, give their chest up. I think that my length and my quickness with my hands allow people to, kind of shy away from trying to bull rush me in different type of power moves. And I think that my knowledge of the game has enabled me to do so many things in the game. I think playing defensive line is all about timing, and they want to see when my hands come. They want to know exactly when I'm going to punch them, so they can swipe them or make their move off of that. But I think being like you said, having so much experience and studying the game so much over that time, I think that I'm able to switch things up on them a ton. And defensive linemen never know what's coming, so I think that's worked to my advantage a ton. You'll see it if you turn on my tape. You'll see a bunch of different sets and a bunch of different things like that. So yeah, for sure.
Sometimes when people look at linemen, they will sometimes say either this guy is a technician or a mauler. I don't know where you see yourself on that spectrum, but I would imagine maybe once upon a time being a big fan of maybe a guy like Trent Williams. Just kind of assuming because he started his career, there for Washington.
Yeah,
Uh, Talk to me about how if you describe yourself to maybe compare yourself to somebody in the league.
yeah. I think that's my favorite player to watch. Obviously Trent's one of the best, if not the best ever to do it. So I think that there's a comparison there just because of the exact thing you just mentioned, the technique part. Trent's obviously a big, strong guy that they do so many things with out there now. But just if you watch his pass set and how many different things he's throwing at people, and he's trying different things out there. And sometimes you're like, Trent, like, why'd you do that? But he gets it done, and I think that's what it's all about is keeping people from knowing exactly what you're going to do. I think that's why he does a lot of things that he does. So I love to watch his film, man. I love to watch Tyron Smith. Something I think is beautiful. Another reason that people don't get in my chest and don't like the bull rush me is Tyron Smith. He's done such a beautiful job of chopping that long arm off and chopping those bull rushes off. I don't think there's anything a defensive lineman hates more than picking themselves up out of the dirt. So when your hands are quick enough to do that, I think it's a beautiful tool to have. It's not something you want to use every play, but like I said, defensive linemen hate getting up off the ground. So I think that watching the both of their film has helped me a ton in developing.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, you're not always using the same moves. You are switching things up because I mean, obviously, if you
Yeah,
continue to do the same thing, people will figure out a way to get the better of you. But
right.
you've done well for yourself. Although unfortunately, maybe these past couple years, we haven't seen as much team success there for Wake Forest. 4-8
Yeah,
record, I know isn't something you're too proud of, but obviously, man, you
right.
got to do what you got to do. You got to do your 111th. Obviously, these past couple seasons having not gone so well, what helps keep you motivated when times are tough?
Yeah, I think I think that's an easy answer. Just like the fact that I was a captain this past year, and then the year before that I wasn't a captain, but I think I was looked at as a leader on the team. Rather, guys are looking towards me to be the guy that's going to motivate them to show up every week. I think that was something that even though we didn't have the winning record that we wanted this past year, I think that this team never quit, and there was never a week that we went onto the field thinking that we were going to lose a game, no matter who it was on the field. Sometimes, as you said, 4-8. Sometimes that didn't happen. But if you were to come to any one of our practices, we were practicing just as hard as if we were 12-0 that year. We were practicing just as hard as any other team I've ever seen at Wake Forest. And so that's something that motivated me, to show up every week was that I knew I had to put these guys on my back and motivate them to get going. So that we could see the success we wanted. Obviously, it didn't go that way, but that was a big thing for me.
Of course, the record doesn't show, but you yourself and your team did have some great moments from this past season. I want to talk about one game in particular, that being a victory against NC State. A lot
Yeah,
of great rivalries there in the Carolinas, of
for
course, and
sure.
so getting one over on those guys always is a great moment. Can you talk through that game a little bit and maybe I don't know some of the moments throughout that game?
Yeah, for sure. I think anytime you can beat, like you said, a North Carolina team, especially if you go into their place and you beat them there, that's always going to be a great moment for you. And so with that said, there were definitely some great moments. I think the biggest moment was that last drive of the game that we had on offense. The biggest moment for me, just those fourth downs when we went for it, and I'm like, we're in field goal range. We we probably could kick it, and coach is like, no, we're going for it. We're winning this thing now. And he did it. He did it a couple times. So I think both of those conversions, we had a young receiver make some big plays for us. And just seeing the O line hold up in the moment when everybody in the stadium knows that it's going to be a pass. I think that's the hardest time to pass protect, obviously, because the ends start to widen out. They start to get upfield a lot faster. But just seeing the O line hold up and the plays that were made on fourth down and things like that, those were great moments. I think the momentum was set in that game. Early in the game, there was a big injury on the play, but our defense rallied and made a big fumble and returned it almost for a touchdown, and it allowed us to get some points on the board quick. And I think that's where the standard for that game was set. And that was probably the biggest moment for the team as a collective in the game that told us, okay, this is the kind of day we're gonna have. You got to bring your hard hat.
So, other than that great moment within that game, when you look back on the entirety of your career, is there perhaps any other moment, any other great play that you're just very proud of?
I think, like I was talking about earlier, during my time, not these past couple of years, but we won a lot of games in that time. I think um, one of the biggest wins we had that excited me the most was when we went down to Florida State in 22. That was a real big win. Florida State was really good that year. They started off that year really well, and so we had one loss to Clemson at that point, I believe. But just going down there, the stadium was packed. We were ranked, they were ranked. Seeing the big intro they had, riding out on the horse and all that stuff, that was cool. I think that was my first time actually playing down there. So, that was a big moment for me. But it was really exciting. And I think that, you know, in 2021 we went to the ACC championship, and going down there to Florida State, it was like we knew we were good. We had just lost to Clemson by a touchdown in double overtime, and going down there and beating them, it was like, okay, like we have ourselves a team. I'm really excited for what this year is going to be.
So obviously, with you as a solid fixture on that offensive line moving forward, how is that offensive line going to look next season, man? I mean, what are we going to expect from the Demon Deacons in 2025?
Yeah, there's honestly been a lot of change. Our coach stepped down, and a lot of players got in the portal, so there's going to be a brand new look on the offensive line. But I tell you what, my one of my good friends, Uber Django, who I tried to take under my wing during my time there, he's still there. He's going to compete to be a starter, but I think he'll be just as good as you mentioned. All the good offensive linemen that came out of Wake Forest lately, I think he'll be just as good as any of them. So I'm really excited for him and what he's going to do during his time. So I'm really excited.
Great. DeVonte, obviously, we wrap up your collegiate experience, there, put together a lot of great film. Your resume speaks for itself. And so, of course, for a while, like you had mentioned, you're training down in Georgia at Velocity,
Yeah,
getting yourself prepared for your pro day. But even before then, you had a pit stop at the Tropical Bowl where you
yeah.
were able to showcase your talents.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, the Tropical Bowl was a great experience. I got to go down there and play against some really good football players, and just give scouts another opportunity to see what I can do in person. I think that was good for me because they got to get some official measurements, and they could understand like how long I am. We talked about my length earlier. That's a big part of my game, obviously. So so I think that was a real good thing for them to be able to see down there. But then just getting on the field and trying all the things that I showed that I was talking about, the different sets I'm taking, the length that I play with, and things like that. I think that was great for me to be able to show them up close in person. Also took some reps at guard, and I think that was good for them. A lot of people wanted to see that I could move inside if need be. You know, like you said, I played a lot of tackle, but wherever they want me in the NFL, man, that's where I'm going to play. So I definitely got an opportunity to play inside some and show that I can play in there as well. So that was exciting.
For what it's worth, I do feel like there was a ton of great talent at the Tropical Bowl this season for some
Yeah,
reason. And so people throw shade at that event, but I mean, obviously, some really good athletes like yourself down there. Of course, when you have these opportunities at all-star events, you need to take the opportunity to meet people, build relationships. And so some of that is with the players that you meet down there. But
hmm
also when you sit down in some of these interviews talking to these teams,
yeah.
how talk about some of those moments, if you will, during your time down there in Florida.
Yeah, that was real good to talk to some of the scouts and hear them have me talk about my life, how I play football, and just just different types of things, how I look at football. I think another big thing for me is just like I watched so much film this past year. all of my classes were online and asynchronous. So I was coming into the facility getting there at 6 a.m. and I wasn't leaving until 6 p.m. And it was always a joke around the locker room and around the training room and stuff like, man, you're still here. You were here when I left, and people leaving and going to class and coming back, and I'm still in the facility. So I think just being able to, get in front of them and showcase my ability to, talk about different defenses and talk about different fronts and what teams like to do and, what our offense is going to check to against different defenses and stuff that they're thinking only the quarterback is going to know. I can tell them all of it and things like that. So I definitely think being able to build those relationships with the scouts and having them learn more about me as a player, and me learn more about their programs was really good.
So the description I put down as you were speaking was dedicated. Of course, you've proven your dedication throughout your career again with playing as many games as you have, being a leader in your program. And buddy, you've set yourself up now as a NFL prospect going into this draft. Has it perhaps sunk in yet that you could even potentially be drafted this year?
Yeah, I think it, and I'll say yes and no to that. Just because I think every day, every game, every practice, I've been working to put myself in this place. And so I think that I'm exactly where I should be, and I pray every day that when that time comes, I'll hear my name called. But I say no just because I feel like it's always going to be surreal. Um, hopefully, hopefully my career goes long and is as successful as I can see it being. But I think that every day, just that opportunity to be surreal. And so because of that, I think that motivates me to work even harder. Like we talked about earlier, football wasn't my first love, but I'm so glad I picked it up, and as I played it throughout high school and played it throughout college and continued to play up to now, I think I fall in love with it more and more every day. So yeah, I think that it's sunk in somewhat that I'm in this opportunity now just because I've worked so hard towards it. But I don't think that it ever is like, okay, whatever. I think I'm more excited for it each and every day.
Do when I get a chance to meet the guy under the helmet, buddy? I know we've been talking now for quite some time about you and your your college career.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you feel people need to need to know about you? Any fun facts, or I don't know, you have any interesting hobbies, or any maybe secret talent that no one knows that you have, or what?
I think the biggest thing I do off the field is probably just spend time with my dog, whether that's like going on hikes or going to different dog parks or just finding some water or something for her to run in. Just spending time with my dog. I have a 3-year-old kid. I wish she was down here with me, but she's back at home with my mom. But I had her with me my whole time at school, so that was real great for me. I always thought about getting her in my first couple years, and then I finally did it, and that was she's been my best friend since then. So I so that's been real great for me. In school, I got my undergrad in business and enterprise management, and then I just finished my master's this past semester in digital marketing. And so I walk across the stage this spring, but I'm real excited for that. Um, Obviously, academics was a real big thing for me, so yeah, that was a big thing. That was a good thing.
Cool. So nice that you're almost finished with your master's. You mentioned a little bit about having a dog, having a pit bull. I feel like it's such a misunderstood breed. They're wonderful dogs. We need to
Yeah,
give them
I appreciate that.
much love. Um, See if I can maybe throw a couple more questions your way. Again, these are just kind of for fun, completely
Yeah,
not
for
related
sure.
to any sort of football thing at all. So let's just kind of have a little bit of fun.
Cool.
Um, let's say, oh, I don't know. Uh, do you have like maybe a bucket list vacation spot that maybe one day you'd love a chance to go to?
I think that's a hard one. There's so many vacation spots. I think um I think the one I'm looking forward to right now is over this past year, our other tackle, we got really close. And a bunch of the guys in the old line room, we got really close. And like I said, we're all over the place now, but I think I'm gonna try to meet up with these guys once I finish with everything and get some downtime. I think we're all gonna try to meet in Miami, so I'm really looking forward to that. But there's a lot of beautiful vacation places that I need to get to.
No, I hear you. I think more so what you were referring to really is just the people around you. And so
Yeah, for sure.
that's all good, man. I mean, I appreciate your perspective on that. Uh, do you much of a I don't know TV guy? Like, you know, you find yourself binge watching some shows, or what's your thing these days, man?
Yeah, I watch a lot of TV. I probably watch too much TV. I tell you, especially like now that I'm outside of home and I don't have my dog with me or anything like that. We're working out a ton. So my days look like workout, eat lunch, workout again, film, whatever, looking over the plays and things like that, and then whatever I'm watching on TV, man. I've been flying through TV shows.
I'm just saying, give me a
So
quick
yeah,
example.
I got you. This morning, actually, I just started one called Resident Alien, which isn't that's not my normal, but I've watched so
Oh,
many TV shows that that I've started running out. So
that's definitely a
so
weird
that's the one I
show
just started.
for people
Oh,
who have
you
never
know it
seen
is
it.
for sure.
It's out there for sure. So, um, you're sitting there watching this Resident Alien show. Do you believe aliens are exist? Do you think they're out there or what?
No, I mean, I imagine somewhere out there, this place is too big for for there to be nothing out there, and the rest of but that no, that show, I don't think they're on the planet or anything. That's just something I watch just to fill my time.
Yeah, it's dude, it's just a goofy show. I know
Yeah,
exactly what
exactly.
you're talking about. Do you have maybe any I don't know, any celebrity that you'd love an opportunity to meet, whether it be an actor, musician, athlete? Who would that be for you?
LeBron, I've been such a LeBron fan all my life. Just because you watch how dedicated he is to his craft. You watched it from the moment he entered the league. A lot of people even before that, but from the moment he entered the league, he's just always been really extremely dedicated to his craft. And for him to be playing, what is it, 22 years later now, and still playing at just as high level as anybody else in the league. I think that's just a testament to what it takes to be an all-time great athlete. And even though he isn't in the same sport as me, I think that there's definitely something to be learned there. Um, whether that's how he takes care of his body or just even like how he approaches having the mindset of I'm the best player on this floor every night. 22 years later.
I see how it is, man. Obviously, you picking the, you know, the guy these days where most people believe he's the best at what he is. I mean, not being a Durant fan. I mean, what's up, man? Like that's not the way to go. Being a DC native. So I'm just playing with you.
No, I
Hey,
got you.
man. Obviously, it's been fun chit chatting with you, having a good old time, talking about you and your story, learning more about
Yeah,
you.
for sure.
I love the jokes and stuff, but do we need to wrap things up?
I got you.
Obviously, you want to get to the league, you want to get yourself drafted. Um, as we wrap things up, just lay it all out on the line. Tell people why you need to be drafted, signed, and on that particular NFL team. So, finish with your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. I'm a guy like we talked about. I'm a guy that has a ton of experience, and I've played against the best of the best. I've played guys from all the best edge rushers in the ACC. I've played best of the best rushers in the SEC and whoever else we came across, in a lot of bowl games and things like that. And I think that each time you cut on my film, you'll be like, okay, this is a guy that we have really highly touted, and okay, this is DeVonte Gordon as well, who's just cut on the film. I think I showed, like I said earlier, I've showed that I was a pass protector all my career, and a big knock on me throughout the first few years was that could I run block? Was I strong enough to play inside and things like that? But I think if you cut on this tape from this past year, that was a big focus for me, just because we ran a different style offense at Wake Forest. We ran the RPO offense, so I didn't get that many opportunities to really kill guys in the run game. But we kind of switched things up this past year, and that was a big focus on me to continue to improve this past year. So I think I put it on tape that I can be dominant in both of those things. And so I'm really excited for pro day. I'm really excited to get the opportunity to show everybody what type of athlete I am and things like that. So yeah,
Well, certainly a good all-around blocker with a ton of great traits as a prospect this season. has shut down some dudes who have been first round draft picks. Let's just kind of throw that out there for people. DeVonte, want to wish you all the best. I know you're working hard, and you deserve a great opportunity here very soon. So you
Thank you. I
take care,
appreciate
okay?
that. And you as well.
Sure thing. Once again, I got DeVonte Gordon, offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. Check him out.